right. Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to the fantastic world of 2024. I mean, well, at the time of recording this, excuse me, it's the 3rd of January now. And so this is like open bar that spanned 2 entire years. Isn't that lovely? Anyway, well, I want to say thanks to everyone who joined us on the last one. It was the last one of 2023, and it was very nice. It was good fun. And thanks for all the amazing super chats that you sent in. Very much appreciated. And well, I know I didn't get through all of them on the night, so here we are. I'm going to try and answer the remainder. And cheers to you. I hope everyone had a fantastic new year. Anyway, on with the super chats. So, excuse me, once I've finished choking to death. The first one that I've got here is from Avarith, who said, Mauler and Drinker, you guys should watch Alice in Borderland. 2 seasons, complete story with a 3rd on the way. Also has good drama and characters. After watching Alice and older shows and comparing them to newer shows, like Hollywood has forgotten how to do pacing. A good example being Rings of Power. Yeah, good example, I suppose, for a recommendation there. I'm not too familiar with Alice in Borderland myself, but I know people like Disparu are big fans of it. And it's apparently spoken of very highly. So it's one of those ones I definitely need to get around to watching. And if there's only 2 seasons been made so far, there's obviously it's not going to be too hard to catch up on it. So it's probably a good option. I will say I am currently plowing through Attack on Titan, and I've been absolutely loving that. Again, another recommendation that people have been throwing at me for ages, and I finally got around to watching it in the holidays, and it's amazing. It's so... I don't think I've seen a more bingeable show in a long time. Like, every episode ends on a cliffhanger, and because it's actually well developed and you like the characters, you genuinely want to see what happens next. So yeah, looking forward to reviewing that when I finally finish it. Mark McClellan says, hey Drinker, I noticed that you're coming up on 2 million subs. Are you going to do anything special to celebrate it? Well, I will, yeah, but it's mostly going to involve Tatiana and insane amounts of of baby oil. So you don't want to be involved in that one too much. But yeah, as for celebrating it, I don't know. I'll probably do like an Ask the Drinker stream or a celebration stream or something like that, because it's a nice little milestone to mark. You know, it'd be good to do. I mean, it was pretty exciting to reach 1 million subs. So honestly, for me, anything beyond that is a bonus. Getting to 2, awesome. If I don't make it, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But yeah, seem to be doing okay. So if we make it, we'll do a nice celebration. Blank Face says, gay gayness and late lateness. That's true. 2 components that are vital to any good open bar, I would say. Slaglust says, here's two for the Goomba. Hi, Camelot. I'm sure he was very pleased by that. Thanks, man. Ferrier Samra says, you should bring Bone Bridger to the bar. Cheers. Yeah, well, I'll do my best. Try and contact all these people. John Kenny says, thank you, Drinker, Mauler, and Platoon for providing countless hours of edutainments. That is a complete lie. We don't educate anyone here. But yeah, appreciate it, man. He says, Happy New Year, everyone. Can someone please review Pantheon? Love it or hate it. I would enjoy it either way. I could if I'd seen it. I haven't, I'm afraid. So right now, I don't know much about it, I'm afraid. Thrill House says, hey, lads. Love to hear you all again. Have any of you ever seen the old Stallone comedy Oscar? It's an absolute gem. Sly is hilarious. Yeah, is Oscar where he's like a union guy? He's like a union rep or something. Hold on. I'm gonna have to find this one because I feel like I remember him dressed up in like a swanky 3-piece suit for the whole thing. No, because it just keeps bringing up Oscar wins for Sylvester Stallone. So, yeah, here we go. Oh, yeah. He's in the suit, but he's not the union guy. That's maybe like Bugsy or something I'm thinking of. Yeah, he's a mob boss who promises his dying father he'll leave the world of crime and become an honest businessman. No, I haven't seen that one, actually, and it's weird. Yeah, Stallone didn't dabble in comedy all that much, as I recall. I mean, we all know he did the absolute classic of Stop or My Mom Will Shoot. But I haven't seen Oscar, I'm afraid. Yeah, one day I should get around to it. Excuse me. Drunken Finn says, Happy New Year from Finland. Thank you, sir. One of the best movies of the year was Sisu. I'm going to shamelessly recommend two excellent but more realistic Finnish war movies, Winter War from 1989 and Unknown Soldier from 2017. Excellent. Thank you for the recommendations. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I know Finland's got a pretty unique perspective on World War II. Like, they fought with the Germans and then ultimately against them. And so, and they fought against the Soviets as well. So it's kind of a complex situation for them. And yeah, I know Sisu is not exactly a realistic movie, but I very much enjoyed it. It was great to see it do so well. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see slightly more realistic Finnish takes on war movies. Bono is ready, says, best film. It's a tie between Godzilla Minus One and Talk to Me. Yeah, both good films. I would say Godzilla Minus One probably takes it there. Best series, probably One Piece, but I didn't watch much TV this year. Happy holidays, y'all. Thank you very much, sir. And happy holidays to you. Yeah, as for best series, yeah, One Piece was definitely great fun. Like I say, I'd recommended Fall of the House of Usher and Blue Eye Samurai. All of them came quite late in the year, but I thought they were all great. So all of those would be good contenders for me. Hugo Ventura says, Little Platoon, what happened with Beasts Up? So that's his weekly live stream. As far as I know, it's still going. I think maybe he took a short break to work on other stuff, but as far as I know, it's back now. Lore says Godzilla wasn't diverse. How is this movie such a success without DEI? I know it's a total mystery, isn't it? It's almost like good storytelling and good writing and good characters is what's actually important to a movie. But hey, what do I know? Lost 77. After a year filled with bad movies, I was wondering, what are some of your favorite bad movies or media in general, and what makes you like it? I mean, I've done little like videos about guilty pleasure movies. I mean, the obvious one would be something like The Room, which I've seen at a couple of film festivals at Edinburgh. Like, if you go to Edinburgh during the festival in August, they usually do showings of The Room, or at least they used to back in the day. It's, I guess, less relevant now, but that was great fun. And for all the same reasons that everyone enjoys the hilarious badness of it. You know, it was just a great, fun movie. The one I've referenced quite like a few times, and I did like an extra shots review on it, was Fatal Deviation. Again, a low budget movie. This was a martial arts movie from Ireland, made in the late 90s. And just as ridiculous and silly as you might imagine, but great fun because they tried so hard with it. God bless them. But yeah, as for like, bad, like sort of more mainstream bad movies, Van Helsing would be a real favorite of mine. Like, I know it wasn't terribly well reviewed when it came out, but damn, that movie's just got so much charm to it and a lot of fun. And I don't really understand why it flopped at the box office. It's a real shame. The cast is great. The action's great fun. Doesn't take itself too seriously. It's made by the same guy who did The Mummy. It's got Hugh Jackman in it and Kate Beckinsale in a leather corset. I mean, what more can you want in life, really? Let's be serious here. Next one. I don't know how to say this one. CG Hero says, watch one episode of Blue Eye Samurai and it was obvious the show wasn't made for me. Every male character is a condescending asshole. And of course, the heroes are all female or disabled. Season 2 will probably be even worse. I would not agree with that take. Yeah, like a lot of the male characters treat Miso with disdain. For two reasons. One, because she's a woman, and it's not exactly a common thing for women to be samurai in Japan at that time. And two, because she's mixed race and she has blue eyes, hence the title of the show. So there's the racial component and the sexual component, and it's an understandable bit of discrimination that they have against her. But it's not like they're all portrayed as cowardly or weak or useless. Like, most of them end up being formidable opponents to her and actually cause a great deal of damage to her, and really test her to her limits in terms of what she can do. and in some cases beyond it. Like she ends up getting her ass kicked. And I think that's the hallmark of good character development. I mean, it sounds so simple because it is, but this is what we're dealing with now. We're in a world where even the most basic of character development is seen as like a massive step forward. She does lose. She does make mistakes. She has flaws in her personality and her thinking. And all of those things influence her development throughout the story. They influence how she tackles situations. She makes mistakes and she learns from them. This is what sets her apart from characters like Rey or Captain Marvel or whoever. You know, they are portrayed as universally flawless. They never make mistakes and they especially never lose a fight to anyone. She's different. And so that's fine for me. Like, yeah, she's definitely physically overpowered. She's more powerful than any normal woman would be. But this is like I guess, a hyper stylized world where humans are capable of quite superhuman feats of strength. This is not a particularly realistic depiction of what humans can do. It's stylized. It's an anime, you know. But once you're living within those constraints, it kind of works fine. Like, and I think they do a good job with this character of, yep, certainly she is powerful, she is dangerous, she is good at fighting, but she's not overpowered to the point where she's infallible. And I guess that's what I look for in a character like this. Lost 77 says, it'd be funny if the guests were Rags and Fringy. Well, we have to have them back on. Fringy's been on quite a few times at this point. The next time we do an open bar, we're going to have Metal on because he's over in the UK, staying with Mauler at the moment. So he's going to join us. And yeah, it's been a while since we had Rags on. I actually need to have him back. Paz Two Wheels says, happy baby Jesus day to you all. Question for the panel. Have you seen Don't Look Up on Netflix and your thoughts in a post-Trump world? I never watched Don't Look Up, and I'll tell you why, because everyone said it was absolute garbage. And so I could live without that in my life. I just didn't feel like I needed it. So, nah, never saw it, I'm afraid. But yeah, heard it's shit. Ministry of Wrongthink says, apparently there's a hilarious narrative going around that Drinker's film criticism doesn't count because he supposedly only focuses on mainstream movies. Even if true, that would be like saying a health inspector can't give you a citation for cockroaches in the kitchen simply because they haven't also checked in the storage shed. I mean, I honestly, I've heard this narrative before. I need to improve my media diet, as some pretentious prick once said. But I don't give a fuck, man. Like, I'm just here enjoying movies that I get to see, you know? And maybe I don't go to every obscure film festival and travel hundreds of miles to get there to see films that no one gives a shit about. I'm okay with that, you know? Particularly when we're talking about big movies that dominate the cinema, they are a reflection of the culture that we live in. And I think that's an important thing. And this is why we talk about the cultural footprint of movies, like films like Star Wars and the impact that it's had on our culture and the culture of cinema. These things matter. And so if the big movies that are guiding that culture are absolute garbage, that's your fundamental problem, like right there. You can have good and bad, obscure independent movies, and that's lovely for the few hundred people that see them. But it doesn't matter in the great scheme of things. What matters is the culture of cinema and where it goes. And it's not going in a good direction at the moment. So that's what we comment on, I guess, myself and most of the other YouTube movie reviewers, because those are the things which are relevant, and to a great extent, those are the things that our audience is interested in hearing about. I know it's crazy as a YouTuber to talk about things that people want to hear about, but there it is. That's why some channels succeed and some channels don't. So I'm fine with that strategy. It's worked out pretty well for me over the past 4 years or so. So I'm happy enough to keep going with it. But please let me know if there's other things that you'd like me to review. Sam Wallace Art says, for a time period Japan doesn't like to talk about, -1 was surprisingly honest and well balanced politically for a mainstream blockbuster. Yeah, it certainly was. I think the characters make quite a lot of references actually to the wartime propaganda mindset of never saying anything bad, never really letting the public know when you're losing and when there's some big disaster pending. Just keep people in the dark and keep them just hoping for the best. They very openly criticize that, and they criticize the fact that the government's not helping them in this life or death situation. So, yeah, I think it's fine, and it's obviously a massive critique on the closing days of World War II when Japan was making heavy use of kamikaze pilots and asking young men to throw their lives away for what was essentially a pointless war. At that point, they had already lost, and continuing it was simply a futile waste of lives. But that was what their culture dictated at the time. So, yeah, I think the movie is perfectly balanced when it comes to that sort of thing. It doesn't glorify it, but it doesn't paint the Americans as like the saviors either, obviously, because they pretty much stay out of the movie. This is very much a Japanese movie reckoning with Japanese issues that were really prevalent at the time, and I think that's perfectly fine. Waddle These Nuts says, a bucket full of AIDS or an AIDS full of buckets? I want the AIDS full of buckets. I just want to see how that would be implemented mechanically. Please show me. The Sundowners Club says, top movies for me were Oppenheimer, fair enough. Sisu, excellent. Iron Claw, haven't seen it yet. Looking forward to it though. Godzilla -1, great movie. And John Wick 4, pretty good. Top moments were Elon telling Iger to go fuck himself. Yes, agreed. And Sydney Sweeney going nude on Anyone But You. God bless Sydney. Excellent. I approve. Chris B says, my top 3, Oppenheimer, The Holdovers, and The Killer. Yes, I'm fine. I haven't seen The Holdovers yet. Oppenheimer, mostly enjoyed, and The Killer, I thought it was a really misunderstood and slightly underappreciated movie. I think a lot of people went into it with slightly different expectations than what the movie was going to deliver, but I thought it was great fun. Mr. Wilson-est 90 says, open bar on my birthday. What a treat. Well, I know this is now several days later, my friend, but happy birthday to you. Thank you. The Crucial Druggie says, is cannabis legal in Scotland? Not really, no. I don't think it's like super strictly enforced, but yeah, it's if you got caught with it, I don't know, you're probably just going to get a slap on the wrist, really, if it's your first offense. But my advice, don't get caught with it. There you go. Ben Mangerer says, hey drinker, I binge watched Blue-Eyed Samurai and really enjoyed it. Outside of Mizu being a little too OP, fair enough. They've really done a good job on characters and real issues during those times for men and women. As I was saying earlier, I think they strike a good balance with the characters there. There's a really good mix of people, corrupt, honorable, brave, cowardly, like everything in between. They're all there, and I think that's great. It's nice to see a good mix of people bouncing off each other. Sam Wallace Art says, thoughts on Guy Ritchie's Operation Fortune? Statham, Aubrey Plaza, and raisiny Hugh Grant in a dumb, fun heist caper. Solid 6 out of 10, but I enjoyed it. Also, Plane was decent. Plane was alright. It's a pretty... As far as generic action movies go, it doesn't get much more generic than that. Didn't love it, but you could definitely tell the budgetary constraints on that one as well. But it wasn't terrible. It'll keep you entertained for an hour or two. Haven't seen Operation Fortune yet, but it's a decent cast right there. And yeah, I agree. Hugh Grant is looking quite raisiny or leathery these days. Kim Bob says, hi all, which is the better Christmas movie, Die Hard or Gremlins? I'm always going to say Die Hard, I'm afraid. Gets my vote every time. Cybermat Strikes says, Doctor Who's 60th has ended in tears with fans worried RTD is leaning into agenda instead of good stories. Well, yeah, they should be worried about that because that's exactly what he's done. Did RTD's tactics surprise you all on this reboot? The rescue mission feels like Harikiri based on showrunner comments. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I'm exactly surprised by it. I think we all had that brief moment of optimism when Russell came back, and it was like, oh, finally, like Chris Chibnall, who's like the Ryan Johnson of the Doctor Who franchise, is leaving. Jodie Whittaker's leaving. We've got a new Doctor. He seems kind of cool and interesting. Russell's coming back. We're getting David Tennant back for like a limited run. There's a lot of good stuff happening there. It could be something with a bit of potential. But yeah, it became clear very quickly with Russell's comments and what he ultimately produced, especially that like Davros special where he's like, we can't depict people in wheelchairs in a negative light. It just became very obvious this is not the same Russell T Davies that we had 10, 15 years ago. He's just not. He's a different person now, fully bought into the message. And probably that was the only thing that was able to coax him back, was just being able to push all this crap on people. So I hope it was worth it. From what I understand, the Christmas special got 1 million less viewers than the previous Christmas special, which itself was pretty poorly rated. So yeah, good luck to you, Russell. You're going to inherit an empire of ashes on this one, I suspect. Jay Fraser 360 says, "Hail gents, most annoying Christmas song ever." Possibly Mariah Carey's one, just because I've heard it so many times, and every Christmas it gets defrosted. Any other annoying ones? I'm trying to think. Most of them are fairly tolerable just through long exposure. Like, they're usually all really old, and so you've got like childhood memories of hearing them while your stepdad was beating up your mom and stuff. Like, yeah, I always found. No, actually, I was gonna say the Shakin' Stevens song for Christmas was always a bit annoying, but like, nah, I'll give it its due. It's actually just a joyous Christmas song. He's not trying to do anything like crazy and subvert our expectations. It's like, yeah, just having parties and having fun. It's Christmas time. Yeah, it's fine. It works okay, but well, we're past Christmas now, I suppose. It's that weird time where it's like the 3rd of January now when I'm recording this, and it's very much that little cocoon of holiday spirit that you're in, where it's just like, I'm not really doing much each day, not entirely sure what day it is even. But once you get to January 1st, January 2nd, you start to realize, like, kind of need to get back on it now. I can't just be in holiday mode forever. It's time to get back into things. So yeah, here we are. We're doing stuff again. And this is me. Like, I just make YouTube videos. This is like really easy and fun for the most part. I remember that feeling of going back to a job that I didn't particularly enjoy in January and just having that whole month stretching out in front of you. It's not easy, man. It really isn't. So, hey, whatever you can do to try and lighten up the month. If you can afford it, if anyone's up for it, arrange things, arrange nights out with your friends, arrange like a weekend away or something. Like, just fill January up with fun stuff because you need it. You really do. After the festive season's over, you need something to look forward to. Jay Hermanson says, "To the panel and to everyone in chat, Happy New Year." Thank you, sir. Let's hope for a better movie year in 2024. Yes, indeed. As we discussed the other night, and I just made a video about this today, we got some good stuff in 2023. It's just it was buried under an avalanche of absolute shit. But I'm hoping that 2024 is going to give us something more. I think it's going to be a year that's largely devoid of superhero movies, thank fuck. So it opens up the summer movie season for other things that will hopefully be a lot better. I think we're all ready for that, really. Patrick Mulligan says, Drinker, I liked Blue-Eyed Samurai, but didn't love it. Mizu's ability to immediately master any weapon, strength, and recovery time puts Vi and the bride to shame. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, like, she definitely is physically overpowered. She spent her entire life training with a wide variety of weapons, so I don't have like a hard time believing that she can use different ones than just a samurai sword, because she's probably trained with them at some point in her life. But the healing factor, yeah, sometimes is a bit over the top. She can take like quite serious injuries, and if the plot demands that she's still able to fight, then she will. Other times she'll collapse from exhaustion or blood loss or whatever, and then someone has to save her. So it's a bit unreliable there. But I totally agree with you on that one. It's not entirely consistent. Intelligent Crayon Eater says, video game shows have a long way to go. Halo was awful, true. Last of Us was okay, also true. Not sure what to expect from the Fallout show. Don't trust Todd Howard not to muck it up. Yeah, I'm not too hopeful for the Fallout show. The aesthetics don't look great for it. And I just wonder if they're going to have that same sense of like dark humor that the games had. I'll reserve judgment though, because it would be great if we got a good Fallout show, because I love the universe. Normie says, greetings all. Only 2 films earned over $1 billion in 23. What films will earn $1 billion in 2024, or will any at all? So that's a good question, actually. Yeah, so Mario Brothers and Barbie both earned over $1 billion. Those were the only 2. And damn, there was a time when you could shit out a comic book movie and it would make $1 billion. Not anymore. Let's see, what's our good contenders coming up in 2024? Because honestly, I'm losing track here. Dune is not going to make it. There's no way is that getting to $1 billion. Madam Web. Yeah, good luck there. Civil War, Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. Nope. No way is that getting to $1 billion. Let's see. Let's see what Rotten Tomatoes can say as... Right. It's funny, like, they've actually got a movie listed in January as anticipated. Mean Girls, no, that's Dumping Ground. Argyle, I think that'll probably be okay. I don't think it's going to do particularly well, again, because February is a pretty crappy month to release a movie. Madam Web, nope, flop. Dune Part 2, I think it'll probably do fine, but not a heavy hitter. Kung Fu Panda 4, no idea. Probably do fine, but nowhere near $1 billion. Arthur the King, don't know. Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, nah, it's not going to do $1 billion. Again, I think it'll do okay. Godzilla versus Kong, the New Empire, nah, that's not going to make $1 billion. No way. Civil War, I don't think anyone's up for that. The Fall Guy, nope. No. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, nah, that's probably going to be in the 500 million range. How about the summer movie season? Bad Boys 4, no, I don't think so. I'm sure that'll do fine, maybe 500-600 million. God, Inside Out 2, no. A Quiet Place Day 1, they're really milking that franchise, and that's not going to make it. Deadpool 3, that is probably your best possibility, I think. Joker, nah, that's not going to make it. Yeah, Joker 2, I don't think that's going to make $1 billion. Deadpool 3 could potentially do it, I suppose, just because of lack of comic book competition. All the people who like comic book movies are probably going to go see that. And, you know, there's still a bit of brand loyalty there. And I think seeing Jackman and Reynolds teaming up might do it. But, yeah, that's an outside chance at the best of times. Sam Wallace Art says, hard disagree on Ellie. The show leans into her being a scared child hiding behind a tough front. Rewatch the scene that she shoots Brian. Her bravado evaporates instantly. She feels vulnerable, more vulnerable in HBO. I do not agree with you, sir. I think it's more than just one scene where she has to kill someone, because obviously that is a major step to do that, but it's her entire demeanor. And I think, as I mentioned on the stream the other night, like every conversation that she has with Joel, she comes across as being in control of everything, like super confident, super dominant, directs the course of every conversation, just runs rings around him. She does not give the impression of a frightened child who's out of her depth. You know, I totally get this idea that you can put on a tough front when you're faced with dangerous circumstances, and eventually it's gonna come loose when you're really up against it. But this doesn't come across as that. Like, that's her actual personality, I think. And yeah, there's a difference, obviously, between being a strong, self-confident person and having to kill a person and not feel anything about it. Clearly, she does. But I think the game version of Ellie was far better done. They got a much better balance of vulnerability and inexperience, and to some extent, youthful naivety about the world around her that gradually gets supplanted by maturity and experience. You know, but part of that also ties into how Joel's portrayed. As much as the Ellie in the show is stronger, the Joel in the show is weaker than he was in the game. So the two are much closer together, which, again, it just robs them of a good character arc, I think, and it's a shame. James Busher says, have you seen Ferrari yet? I found it a bit disappointing. Didn't really get into the mystique of the Ferrari brand at all. Platoon is the GOAT. Thanks, man. I'm sure really appreciate that. But yeah, I'm actually going to go see Ferrari this weekend. Haven't had a chance to do it so far, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've not heard amazing things about it, but I do like Adam Driver, and I just want a movie that he's in to succeed. I think he deserves it at this point, so we'll see how it is. Big Hat Legion says Pedro Pascal is the Jane Mansfield of our time. Bushin Ryu Cat says, I want Pedro Pascal as Yosemite Sam in a live-action Bugs Bunny film. I mean, yeah, good luck with that. Great Khan says, a Platoon, Ahsoka episodes 5 to 8, when? I'm sure they're on the way because he never leaves a show behind. Molester says, nice name, I always thought they should cast that girl who played Maisie in Jurassic World as Ellie. Bella Ramsey is like casting a foot to play a hand. That's a very good metaphor, sir. I've never heard that before. Yeah, I mean, I think they probably could have had her, actually. I'm just thinking back to what she looks like. Yeah, she'd be all right in this role, actually. I'm not sure age-wise how it would work out, but yeah, Bella Ramsey would not be my choice at all. Benjamin Gaskell says, quite a year. I think in years to come, Rachel Zegler, Brie Larson, Jada Pinkett Smith, and Amber Heard will be remembered as the four horsemen who hastened the Hollywood apocalypse. Happy 2024, guys. Thank you very much, sir. And yeah, you could be quite right. I would genuinely love to see a movie where they just put all of them into a film together. You could call it like The Unhirables or something. You could have great fun with that. The Bits and Pieces man says, Platoon, do you like Titanic? We'll never know. But I do. I like it as a movie. As a love story, it's really cheesy and kind of trite, but as a disaster movie, I think it's fantastic. Marine V Lad says, on adaptations, rank the Resident Evil animated movies. Oh, Christ, now you're asking. Right, let me bring them up. Okay, so what have we got here? What the fuck? There's weird ones here that I've never even heard of. Biohazard 4, Incubate. Never heard of that. Let's go with the ones I actually know. Resident Evil Degeneration, Damnation, Vendetta, and then Infinite Darkness, and then Death Island. So I'm probably going to put Death Island at the top of the list. I think that's probably the best of a slightly bad bunch. Then, oh man, it's probably going to be... Yeah, it's probably going to be Damnation, I think. Then Degeneration, and then Vendetta. Yeah, I think that would be my listing. I might move Vendetta up the rankings actually because it was kind of nice to see Rebecca back again, but none of them are particularly amazing. It's just like they're less offensively bad than the movies were, like the live action ones. Um, what was the other one? Yeah, for the panel, top three of 2023, top three films. Probably be for me Godzilla minus one, The Killer, and Oppenheimer, I think, for lack of a better choice that comes to mind. And Teschner Max says, "What do you guys think about Plane with Gerard Butler? I think it was one of the more straightforward, fun films, kind of like Sisu. Had a good time watching. Yeah, like, I think, as I said earlier, it is just a kind of generic action movie. You felt the sort of low budget at times. Um, I'm struggling to think of anything even interesting to say about it. Yeah, I think Gerard Butler himself did fine in it. Like, there's sometimes a sense that he's just phoning it in his in his performances, especially when it's a relatively low budget action movie. But I think he did okay in this. And I can't remember the name of his co-star, but it was like the special forces criminal guy that was getting transported on the plane. I thought he was pretty good in the role. So it was okay, I suppose. It wasn't the worst way to spend a couple hours. Virginia Vet says, we would have world peace if the Star Wars sequel trilogy didn't exist. I firmly support that idea. Berg Flicka says, I agree with Mr. H. Ellie looks like Corky. Patricia Molina says, 2023 between Bad Bunny and the director from Blue Beetle, I'm about to hand in my Puerto Rican card. 2023 sucked. Watching Slow Horses for TV series and the creator surprised me. Hola from Puerto Rico. And hola to you. Yeah, the creator, it could have been so much more. It was nice to see an original sci-fi action movie for a change that wasn't some superhero flick or part of a big franchise. So that was nice. The story kind of fell a bit short in places, but it was pretty good movie from a budget point of view. Like what they did with 85 million was really good. And I need to watch Slow Horses because people talk very highly of that. Southeastern Kaiju says, Halo Little Platoon, loving your video on the Marvels. And as you should, it's excellent. The Inner Light says, Little Platoon as co-host is well earned and well received. Yeah, it was great to have him on. He was very gracious to step in and do this at relatively short notice. So I very much appreciated him being on. And yeah, he's been on Open Bar so many times, he practically is a co-host at this point. Joe Cole says, talking about video game movie possibilities, thoughts on Henry Cavill's 40K show? He says he has a lot of control. And I really hope that he does, because I think the 40K universe is fantastic if it's properly exploited. Yeah, please let him do a good job. I think Henry Cavill deserves a good starring vehicle, and I want to see justice done to 40K. I think it could be great. Shaker Silver says, DC did build a franchise off just those two characters, Batman and Superman, as a foundation, that being the DC animated universe whose acclaim speaks for itself. I mean, yeah, but there's then a big gap between doing an animated kids show and doing, box office movies that are going to do like serious business. And I think this is the situation we're in now, where I think people need to temper their expectations about what superhero flicks are going to be like. I think the days of big extended universes are kind of over now, and I don't want them. I would much rather have a bunch of DC standalone movies. Just give me a bunch of standalone Batman movies that are just cool and really well done and well developed. Give me a bunch of standalone Superman movies without trying to make them all interact into some big shared universe. We don't need that anymore. Captain Daniel A says Godzilla -1 movie of the year. Fair play. Rennie Galzara says Blue Eye Samurai. Yes, I said that too. Maximilian Millerick says, have a drink on me, lads. Would love to get your thoughts on the anime Fieren Beyond Journey's Ends. I'll need to have a watch first, but thank you for the donation, mate. Autumn Breeze says, as a business student who uses companies like Disney and Amazon as examples of research, I want to go up to these CEOs and flat out ask with these films, do you hate making money? Are you a business or a political campaign? Yeah, I'd love to ask them the same question because it's genuinely fascinating. John McKinley says, "Hail Drinker and fellow drunkers. How's about some One Piece talk? My favorite show of the year. Happy New Year's, gentlemen." Yeah, I think we did get talking about One Piece at various points in the stream. So yeah, always fun to talk about that show. TJ says, "I got my critical doggo. It's awesome. My daughter loves it. Thank you, sir. Thanks for all the great entertainment, guys." Thank you, man. And I'm glad your daughter enjoyed it. Appreciate it. Roger Rubio, just want to say thanks for a great year of entertainment, everyone. Little Platoon, your Velma videos helped me get through some rough times early on this year, and I appreciate you. Thank you, man. And I'm sure I will pass that on to Little Platoon. So thank you. Glad he could help you out. Rick's Mace says, "Big up Cosmic Kitty from Bendy." Ministry of Wrong think Godzilla -1 is pretty good for an Oppenheimer sequel. Indeed. Unifiers says, "Some women loved early Marvel when writing was still intelligent. Loved reading analysis and fanfic equally. Cheers, Drinker, Platoon, etc. and much love." Thank you very much, sir. Ginger Adventure says, "Did Margot not take risks because she had to remain the Barbie archetype? Not really a character, a trope." I mean, I don't know. I can't remember. I don't know if you're talking about just within that movie or within her career in general. But yeah, I feel like with Margot Robbie, she's, as people have said before, she's almost struggled with the fact that she's so classically beautiful and that it almost precludes her from doing more interesting roles just because you would perhaps want a character actor with a more unique look about them. But it worked perfectly well for doing Barbie. Sir Hones says, 78 years strong. Cheers. Drinker, hope you get the chance to come to the land where whiskey flows like wine, where women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. I'm talking about a little place called the Tennessee Valley. I know that reference as well. I thought you were going to talk about Aspen, Colorado. Cheers for the donation, mate. Marine V. Ladd says, 2024 film Where to From Here on how to engage audiences and succeed. Second, 40 years of Capcom, rank Capcom franchises, and did you play Dino Crisis? I played a little bit of Dino Crisis, but I was more of a Resident Evil guy back in the day, so that was kind of my thing. How to engage audiences and succeed. Get back to classic storytelling. It's not difficult. Ditch the political agendas. Give us characters we actually like. Give us storylines that test them in some way, force them to grow, give them a character arc that gets them from one place at the beginning to someplace completely different by the end, and maybe give the audience something to chew on. It is so fucking easy, and yet we seem to have lost the knack for doing it because we're so obsessed with the message. Ginger Adventure says, "Barbenheimer is just Atomic City, but meme form." The Hidden Duck says, "I honestly don't understand why recasting Majors is such a problem. It's not like he established himself like Robert Downey Jr., for example, and it's not like it would be the first recast in the MCU." I agree. You could definitely recast him. There's a slight problem where they've kind of established that all the Kangs look the same. They're all played by Jonathan Majors, but again, you can get around that in a multiverse. William Uzel says, "What's your favorite oh shit face in media?" It's probably that bit in Event Horizon when Smith is looking for a bomb that's been planted on his ship and finds it in like a storage locker. Just when it's like got 3 seconds to go or something, you just see the countdown go down, and he just sort of closes his eyes and just goes, like, "Yeah, I'm done." Ray Westmoreland says, "The wife bought me a Drinker Recommends pint glass for Christmas. In honor of the occasion, what beer does the Drinker recommend for the first drink to have on it?" Well, if you can get your hands on it, get Innis and Gunn. It's a lager that we do over here in Edinburgh, and it's excellent stuff. Goes down smooth. Rory Swain says, "Hail to the Drinker and Co. I'm thinking of reading your books for the new year. Is there a certain order I need to read them in?" Yes, there is, and it's printed on the books. I'm pretty sure each book is like book whatever in the Ryan Drake series. And if you're in doubt, you can check on Amazon as well. But the first one is Redemption, the second one is Sacrifice, and the third is Betrayal. So that should get you started. Edit Man says, "Peter Pan and Little Mermaid remakes was bad." They were indeed. God, we almost forget about Peter Pan at this point. Jay Fraser says, "What TV are you looking forward to in 2024? My ones are My Hero Academia, X-Men's 97, Creature Commandos, Cobra Kai, House of the Dragon, Legend of Vox Machina, The Pendragon Cycle, and Stranger Things. So mine would probably be Cobra Kai and House of the Dragon. As for the rest of it, not too much. Are they going to do a season 2 of Tulsa King? If so, I'd be excited to see that. He also says, what films are you looking forward to? Mine are Dune 2, Ghostbusters 4, Furiosa, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, Ballerina, Deadpool 3, Saw 11, 11, Jesus, Joker 2, The War of the Rohirrim, and Nosferatu. I'll be interested to see War of the Rohirrim because it's like an animated movie, to see what they do with it. Dune 2, yeah, looking forward to that. As for the others, not so much. Ghostbusters 4, I'm pretty apathetic about the Ghostbusters films at this point. Bird Up says, Godzilla -1 is the clear winner this year for me. Fair play. It's the only movie that I've ever seen in the theater more than twice. Sometimes you just know when a movie is going to be a classic. Indeed. And yeah, great fun movie. And I'd be happy to watch it again. Martinez Shripka says, maybe 2024 would be better. They are running out of franchises to ruin. This is very true. Or we will see round 2 of remakes and sequels. Where do you see 2024 taking us? More shitty movies? Is the future so bleak? No, I think because they've run out of money. They can't remake a remake. I think that's getting into absurd territory. Superhero movies are all done. It's probably going to be action flicks and video game adaptations. And we'll see where that takes us. But yeah, I just feel like the field's opened up a little bit. There's like almost like a power vacuum, and it's going to be interesting to see what steps in to fill it. Josh C says, Happy New Year, drinker and guests. First super chat. Thank you, sir. Started discovering your channels this year and learned so much of what makes a good movie. Well, good. I'm glad I can help a little bit. Blackguard 4 says, the audiences are asking studios to step over a pole 2 inches off the ground, but the studios keep trying to limbo underneath and then screaming at audiences when they knock the pole over, like we asked the impossible task. Yeah, it's a very good metaphor, actually. It should be so easy to entertain people, but they just refuse to do it. Mo Zizlak says, I know this is superficial, but I don't give a shit. I can't stand that mole on her forehead. She's an American 4 out of 10 at best. Funny is all she had, and she doesn't have that nailed down. That'll be Phoebe Waller-Bridge then. Yeah, I would argue that she's funny in certain scenarios, but it's in a very specific British way. And when you try and port that over into American movies, it does not work in the slightest. Jacobo Ortolani says, Hello, drinker. Ever heard of the YouTube channel Possum Reviews? If not, give it a watch. I think you'd appreciate the guy. He's been around for a few years, taking the piss out of crappy movies with his grumpy humor. He is a possum and he finds garbage. Sounds good to me. Yeah, I've kind of heard of him. Haven't watched too much of his stuff, but who knows? Maybe you'll see him on here one day. Louis Shamoon says, Have you seen My Name, Korean TV show? I haven't, I'm afraid, sir. Josh C, can you do a happy hour for Rush Hour 1 and 2? I could potentially. Just need to find someone who would want to discuss it, I suppose. Grey Jedi Outcast says, What are your thoughts on the movie Twister? I enjoyed it. The destruction looks great. The tornadoes are good fun. Bill Paxton's great in it because he's great in everything, really. And even I wanted to call her Helen Mirren, but it's not. It's Helen Hunt. Even she's kind of likable in it. So, yeah, it's a good movie. The Sundowners Club says, Here's to seeing a lot more of Sydney Sweeney in 2024. She's nude in Anyone But You, and it was glorious. Well, I shall have to look that one up. Big Dave K says, Speaking of animation, don't think I forgot about you. I'll send an update a while ago. In a while. Thank you, sir. Looking forward to it. Josh C says, Les Grossman is short for Leslie, probably a chubby kid in school that got bullied. Poor Leslie worked his ass off till his hair started falling off and he became the bully. Leslie died and Les Grossman was born. I can buy into that backstory. Let's do it. Maximilian Millerick says, Hail to the panel, have a drink on me. What's everyone's favorite guilty pleasure channel? Also would love to get your thoughts on the anime Freeing Beyond Journey's End. Oh yeah, I remember this one. I think we talked about this on the stream the other night. Randy Slicker says, I'm rapidly praying they don't fuck up the upcoming Furiosa movie and turn her into another girl boss wax statue with no personality. Well, don't hold your breath, I would say. This is 2024 after all. Marine Lad says, Drinker, Dino Crisis Remaster or Resident Evil 5 Remake? I would go for the Resident Evil 5 remake just because I'm a massive Resident Evil nerd. And I would kind of like to see that movie that game get redone. I think there's a lot of potential there. It just needs a bit of work to add a bit more, I don't know, a bit more of an open world to it, probably. Because you've got these great environments, these great like cityscapes and stuff to explore. I'd like to see more of that. Moses Lack says, God damn, the director of Die Hard got busted for a Wesley Snipes. It's tough ice skating uphill. It really is, yeah, in Hollywood. Meme Mew Life says, it takes an alcoholic Scot. It always does. TKD Boy says, Drinker, always appreciate your authentic and genuine reviews. Some people didn't like your praise of Blue Eye Samurai because female protagonist equals woke. I mean, that seems to be the case. Yeah, I can definitely get some of the criticism that she's a bit physically overpowered. But I just would, I would hasten to add, just give the show a try. I think it will grow on you. And I think if you actually take the time to examine the character and what she gets put through, you won't see it as woke. Eric Sheedlu says, got my critical doggo. He doesn't say much, but he hated the Marvels as much as I did. Cheers and happy holidays. Thanks. A doggo of taste, I see. TKD Boy says, you could have strong females in fiction that can beat men. They just need to be well written and have flaws and still be capable of losing. See Arcane, Blue Eye Samurai, Xena, etc. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. And Rays says, Hail Drinker, I've been inspired by your content, so I plan on making a long man video series about all the changes in Lord of the Rings from the books to the movies. I've begun the script already. Cheers. Excellent, man. And I hope, I hope it goes well for you. I'd be quite interested to see that because, I've read the books many times. I can name and kind of remember a lot of the changes that they made for the films. They seemed like a big deal at the time, but damn, when you think about some of the adaptations we've had in recent years, it's nothing. But yeah, I think a video like that would be quite interesting, particularly for people who might be interested in getting into the books. They can see a different perspective on it with this. But yeah, man, thank you for all of you for sending these super chats in. I appreciate all the generosity as always. I'm sorry it was just me who was here answering them this evening, but hopefully I haven't bored you to death too much. And I'm looking forward to doing open bar tomorrow night. It's going to be my first open bar of 2024. So let's see if we can kick things off in style. But anyway, for now, at least that's us done. So that is all I've got for today. So go away now.